The old woman lies awake, listening to the sound of his breathing. Night after night, it is the same. She cannot sleep for listening to that hoarse, painful rasp. Whenever the sound is interrupted, she lies tense, waiting, while the most excruciating moments gather upon her own nearly motionless chest like weights of iron. Then slowly, or quite suddenly, the sound recommences. He has not stopped breathing. He has awakened for a few minutes only and then gone back to sleep.
Thank God. Thank God.
During the day, she listens too. While in the kitchen, she always has one ear cocked towards the living room where he is reading. She listens for the periodic crinkling of newspaper pages being turned or the knock of the pipe bowl against the glass ashtray. These sounds reassure her, and she breathes more freely.
Emil, it's time for your draught.
There is a vague look in his eyes. His right leg slightly stiffened from the stroke. His mind is no longer very alert. Often she must speak to him twice before he seems to understand. He sits brooding a great deal. He listens to the radio and hears nothing. The music is wasted. The comedians, the news reporters, the symphony orchestra are all wasted on his ears. He is thinking about the inevitable. He is already like a dead man.
Emil.
The blanket is a souvenir of Navajo origin that they bought 50 years ago on their honeymoon trip to the American Southwest. She remembers how frightened she was, or pretended to be, of the grim-looking Indians gathered around the station platform. How she squealed with delight over the turquoise bracelet, and then with terror as the squaws formed a circle around her, pushing things into her face. She remembers his strong, protective arm around her as she became faint, and his gentle strength as he guided her back to the train. Here in the warm interior of their living room, night surrounds them. Black squares of it press against the glass panes of the windows. They are alone, sitting close together as though posing for a picture. It is in a moment they will both smile, and the camera will click, and the cameraman will say, "All right," and they will move again. But for now they are motionless, only waiting.
I don't know, Emil. Let me. There now, you old grouch.
Her eyes peer teasingly up at him, and he catches a glimpse of a fleeting brightness in them, which is the ghost of her youth, appearing with a shy, furtive quickness, as though shamefully aware of its own incongruity, and then fluttering quickly off like a songbird that momentarily rested on a frozen branch, casting a single startled glance at the glittering, icy, uncordial season that surrounds it, and then receding instantly back into the dim but secure dimension from which it had, but for that one moment, miraculously appeared.
Emil, your milk.
His feet whisper sadly along the black and white check linoleum. The loose boards creak, making small, half-hearted complaints beneath the old man's tottering weight. He stares for a moment inquiringly at the icebox and the gas range, as though they had asked him a question which he had not quite understood. He doesn't seem to see them.
Emil.
his mind is not very clear anymore. She wonders sometimes if he is really aware of what he is doing. Does he know what she is saying to him? She talks a great deal, but his silence is heavier than her words. It is no longer a natural thing as it used to be before he suffered the stroke. Now, silence is waiting, and silence is a continual dread. When the light is out, she begins to think again. Thoughts and images swarm mercilessly in her mind, and she murmurs aloud. Sometimes it is the seashore she sees again, and he is lying beside her on the warm sand. The bright grains of it are sliding from his palm and trickling over her bare legs and arms. This memory has a remarkable life. It is the most vivid of them all. She hears the sound of waves coming in, and her eyes close slowly against the glint of the sun. Prismatic colors flash through her eyelids. She hears his voice, slow and caressing as the grains of trickling sand. Rose, Rose, Rose. He's trying to make her smile, but she will not smile. She keeps her lips drawn tightly together. The sand trickles slowly, then more swiftly, then slower. It is warm, so very warm against her bare skin. In spite of herself, her lips begin to curl up at the corners. She laughs out loud. The earth rises and sways beneath her. Her body grows large, immense. The moment is timeless. It forms a perfect arc through space. She whispers her name, his name, and holds her breath. Yes, he is still beside her, but the warm sand no longer slides from his palm. The sun is gone. It is dark. She turns slowly upon the bed, her eyes closed. If she stretches out her fingers, she can touch the sheet that covers him. Yes, she can hear him breathing, still breathing. The hoarse, dragging sound goes wearily on, a tired, heavy thing crawling painfully forward, desperately pulling and pushing itself still further along. Will it not stop? She shudders. No, it must not. Never. Such a thing can never happen to her. And then one day she hears a heavy thud. She drops the soup ladle and stands motionless by the kitchen stove. There is much to assure her that nothing has happened. The casual clicking of the white enamel clock, the throaty murmur of the boiling carrots, the buzzing of an early summer fly blue-winged against the shining copper screen, the sunlight on geranium leaves. She forces her fingers to lift the soup ladle again and holds it like a weapon, rigidly poised, her eyes staring blindly. In a moment she will hear the slow crinkling of the newspaper or the clank of the pipe bowl against the glass ashtray. She waits for these, but still she hears nothing. Something congeals inside of her, grows hard and cold as rock. She staggers forward. No use to delay. She sets the dripping ladle down upon the cloth-covered table and goes straight forward to the living room door and pushes it open.
Emil!
I was looking at it and dropped it.
It is an album of picture postcards of places they had visited on vacations in younger days. They are pictures of Niagara Falls and Yellowstone and Canada and Florida and the Great Smoky Mountains. They had begun putting the pictures into this book nearly 50 years ago when they took their honeymoon trip to the American Southwest. Since then, they had steadily been adding to it, every summer when they could afford it. And now, it is a large book full of pictures.
No one here but me.
In that embrace she must hold him forever. Time must not take him from her. Let the rest fly away like sand. She must have this moment to keep. She will show him that she still has strength enough for them both.
What is it, Emil? Please, tell me. Let me know.
I was just thinking